Bill late. Okay, so Bill Lazor is one of our very own boot campers from way back, right, Bill? I think it was 2009, 2010, something like
No, actually, it was September of 2012. So,
oh, there you go.
Welcome to all my cohort members from September 2012.
I know. So this is awesome. And so a couple things about Bill. So yes, he's been a long time very involved boot camp alumni, and it's wonderful that now he's in a position that he can share his wisdom with all of us. And so a couple of fun facts about Bill is he is on his 650th yoga class, and he was voted most likely to log on virtually. And that's great. So he's quite the yoga person. So if there's a position that you have a question about, I think you can ask Bill. Also, but Bill started his career in corporate finance and strategy, and a Wharton grad, and he's quite involved with his church and with the Wharton alumni, and he's an involved person in general. So great person to network with, and a great person to have in your camp. So we're really excited. He launched Focal Point just a few months ago, and he's helping, you know, people, executives and companies with coaching, and he's got a lot of great things to offer. So want to make sure that we take away a lot of his pearls of wisdom. And Bill, thank you so much for speaking to us today and taking the time to get everything together, and so we can pick up a lot of great tips. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks everyone for coming. I really want to welcome everybody today. And I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to ask that you hold your questions till the end. You can put them in the chat and we'll address them at the end. So let me set this up here.
Can we mute phones also?
Oops, there it goes. Can everybody see that?
Nope.
Try it again,
Not
Bill.
yet.
Okay.
Maybe there's a delay.
Oh, you know what I have to do? I have to do screen share first. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a little slow here. Apologies. You got to do this first.
It's the nuclear launch button, Bill.
Yeah, I got it. There we go. So can you guys see that now?
Yes.
And are you seeing the slideshow or the PowerPoint? Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. That's what I want to see. All right, very good. Thanks for putting up with technical difficulties. All right, well, again, I want to say welcome. This is going to, you're really going to enjoy this presentation today. It's because I'm a Focal Point business coach, I'm allowed to use all of the intellectual property from Brian Tracy. He's a very famous person, sales leader, and has trained a lot of people. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But today we're going to talk about eliminating procrastination, doubling your productivity, performance, and output. 21 great ways to stop procrastinating and get more done in less time. So let's just get right into it. This is just a 1-hour introduction to what's a one-day workshop. So I'm only going to cover the what, not the how, because I can't do all of it in an hour. So we're just going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to give you a little bit more about me, tell you a little bit more about Brian, who's the author of the book called Eat That Frog that this is based on. And the one-day workshop includes the following topics. So we won't touch on all of these today, but we'll cover a few of them. You want to decide exactly what you want to do, set priorities in each area of your life, determine your most important goals, unlock your mental powers, downsize, delegate, or eliminate non-essential work, focus on your most valuable tasks, double your productivity and double your free time, and eliminate low value, no value activities. So that's what you learn in the one-day workshop. And we'll touch on a few of those subjects today. As far as me, as Christy mentioned, I did just buy a franchise. So Focal Point is a franchise. I work with a franchise broker, and I considered 3 different franchises, and then purchased a franchise in April. I got certified in June for business coaching of entrepreneurs, in August for executive coaching, October for navigational conversations, and just yesterday for corporate training. And my ideal client is somebody that works for an engineering or a manufacturing company. They're either a senior level executive or a business owner. They work in a company that has $10 to $250 million in annual revenue, and they're interested in building or developing a strategic plan. They want to improve their financial metrics, or they want to create or develop their leadership team. And they want to see results in less time than they can see on their own, because they want to spend more time with their family. They want to take longer, more frequent vacations. They want to see results, and that's what I do. So without further ado, we will talk a little bit about Brian Tracy. He's one of the top business speakers in the world today. He's designed and presented seminars for more than 1,000 large companies and more than 10,000 small and medium-sized enterprises in 75 countries. On leadership, management, professional selling, business model reinvention, and profit improvement. He's addressed more than 5 million people in 5,000 talks and presentations worldwide. He currently speaks to 250,000 people a year. His fast-moving, entertaining video-based training program has been taught in 38 countries. He's a best-selling author with 80 books translated into 42 languages, and you can see some of the titles there. He's in his 80s now. He's happily married with 4 children and 5 grandchildren. He lives in Solana Beach, so he's pretty local to where we are here. So again, I want to welcome you today. In the next 45 minutes, you're going, and it's exactly 45 minutes, you're going to get an introduction to the one-day workshop. In the workshop, you can learn how to double your productivity, streamline your life, and focus on the most important things to do. Versions of the full workshop have been given to more than 1 million people worldwide. Many participants have doubled their income and doubled their time off in as little as 1 year. So in this short 45-minute introduction, you'll learn the what, but I can't do the how. You have to take the full one-day workshop for that, and I'll talk more about that later. So let's start with a chat question. So in the chat box, please introduce yourself by giving your first and last name, and then answer these 2 questions. Number 1, what's the most important goal you have for this discussion today? And number 2, if you could learn any one thing as a result of today, what would it be? So I'd love everybody to participate. Put your name in the chat box and answer those 2 questions. It'll take about 3 minutes to do that. It's really important that as a presenter that I get to understand what people are thinking and what they're feeling, and because Focal Point focuses a lot on attitude. Attitude is everything. And having the right attitude and the right focus is the way to achieve your goals and your objectives and your strategies and your plans and all the activities that you want to do. So, so yeah, go ahead and answer those questions, and we'll move on in just about 45 seconds. All right, so moving on. While you're still doing that, I'll talk a little bit about what you just learned by doing that. Your first learning is about personal goal setting. Goal setting is the master skill of success. The more you set goals and work towards them, the happier and more successful you'll be. Only 3% of adults have written goals. This small minority earns 10 times as much as those people without goals. Success in life begins with your deciding exactly who you are, so clarity, what you want, and then writing it down. It's not enough to just think about it and go, oh, I have some goals in mind, and yeah, I have this ethereal plan. You've got to write it down. Then you have to make a plan, and a plan has to have activities associated with it. So you make a plan for its accomplishment, and then you have to take action on your plan. And then you have to do something every day to move towards your major goal, not not once a month or once a week or whenever you're not doing something else, but you've got to do something every day to move towards your major goal, whatever it is. By setting clear goals and then thinking about them all the time, you trigger all kinds of ideas and insights that will help you achieve your goals. And by thinking about your goals all the time, you become more positive, optimistic, and confident. And then as you achieve your goals, you increase in self-esteem, self-respect, and personal pride. You feel like a winner, and you've eventually become unstoppable. So it's really important to have personal goals. That's why we started with having you set a goal for the workshop and what you wanted to learn today. So this presentation is based on the book Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, 3rd edition, and it's as entitled, the subtitle is 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time. So in the workshop, we talk about the 4 keys to increasing your productivity, and those 4 keys are: clarify. You want to have absolute clarity about who you are, what you want, and the best way to achieve it. Simplify. You want to delegate, you want to outsource and eliminate all low value, no value tasks and activities in your life. Maximize. You've got to determine your special talents, abilities, and strengths and focus on developing them to a higher level. So you don't want to focus on your weaknesses. You want to focus on the things that you do very well. Find the one thing that you do very, very well, and really polish that, perfect that. You want to build on that. You want to take courses and things that'll help you maximize that. So it goes along with the appreciative inquiry leadership model, which is where you focus on your strengths and improve your strengths. So it's very much in line with some of the things we learned from Kenny in boot camp. And then lastly, you want to multiply. You want to leverage yourself and your business with other people's contacts, knowledge, abilities, efforts, monies, and resources. Nobody does anything on their own. So you really have to use your network and your resources to increase your productivity. So again, the 4 things are: clarify, simplify, maximize, and multiply. And there are really only 4 ways that you can change your life. You have to do more of certain things. You have to do less of certain things. You have to start doing something new, and you have to stop doing something altogether. So you really end up asking yourself these 4 questions. What am I going to do more of? What am I going to do less of? What am I going to start doing? And what am I going to stop doing? So those are the only ways that you can make changes in your life. And so if you think about that as we get more into eliminating procrastination, it'll be adding things, subtracting things, doing new things, and stopping things altogether, because they're low value, non-value things. You want to get other people to do them, or you want to stop doing them. So for every goal or project or work in progress, there's at least one critical constraint that determines how fast you can achieve it. And your ability to identify and define this critical constraint and find a way to alleviate it can be the critical factor in determining your success. And so in the workshop, we talk a lot about the theory of constraints, but the top important things to know about it today are there's one thing that sets the speed at which you can achieve your goal. If you think about a PERT chart or a Gantt chart, it's the critical path and the things in the critical path. So you want to be clear about your goal, you want to identify your limiting factor, and then you want to focus on alleviating that constraint, because doing that is going to get you to your result faster. One of the things we talk about in the workshop is 6 steps to simplification. I won't go into how to do this today, but basically the 6 steps are delegating. So I delegate grocery shopping to my concierge, and he goes and gets my groceries every week, so I can spend my valuable time doing high value added things. Outsource. You want to get other people who have strengths in the areas where you have weaknesses to do those things where you're not strong. So you outsource those things to others. You want to eliminate doing things that aren't in line with your goals. If you're doing things that are not going to get you to your goal, it's just taking away from your ability to achieve that goal and the time that you want to achieve it. You want to consolidate. If there's things that when you go out and you leave the house and you've got shopping to do, you want to group those trips and group those errands and get them all done and consolidate things. So and that also applies to getting things ready when you're doing a task. You want to have all the things ready that you're like you're doing your taxes, get all your documents ready. So consolidate before you do that. Downsize. I need to continue to do that. My sister said she doesn't want to come to my apartment when I'm dead and throw all my stuff out. So I've got to downsize my 35 years of stuff. And I did a good job in 2015 when I moved, and I got rid of a lot of it. And I did another good job in 2019, but I still have more to go. So downsize is the other thing. And the last thing is to layer first. So you want to delegate, you want to outsource, you want to eliminate, consolidate, downsize, or delay or defer tasks, things that aren't in your path, because you want to decide what the most important thing every day is, because that's your frog. And the key to happiness, satisfaction, and great success, and a wonderful feeling of personal power, we're all about feelings and effectiveness, is you want to develop eating your frog that first thing every day when you start. And the hint is your frog is your most important task. Mark Twain once said that if the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that you're done with the worst thing you have to do all day. In this era of constant distractions, find out how to eat that frog and tackle your most challenging task, plus focus on the tasks that will give the greatest positive impact on your life. So fortunately, this is a learnable skill that you can acquire through repetition. And when you develop the habit of starting on your most important task before anything else, your success is assured. Now I'm going to go through why you all came today, the summary of the 21 great ways to stop procrastinating and get more things done faster. We're going to review these rules and principles. You want to review these rules and principles regularly until they become firmly ingrained in your thinking and actions, and then your future will be guaranteed. So let's go ahead with 21 great ways to stop procrastinating. Number 1, set the table. Decide exactly what you want. Clarity is essential. So as we said before, you want to write out your goals and objectives before you begin. A goal is an overarching thing. It might be something like, I want to improve my family, or I want to make a difference in the business community. That's a goal, an overarching goal. An objective is how you're going to accomplish that goal. So like I'm going to be a focal point business coach in order to do that. And maybe then your next thing is your strategy. Your strategy is, how are you going to accomplish that? Okay, am I going to do it through business coaching, executive coaching, training, assessments, workshops? How am I going to do that? What's my strategy for that? How am I going to acquire clients? And then you put together your plan. Your plan might be your individual things that you're going to do to achieve your strategy. And plans are very detailed and complex, as you know. And then underneath your plan, you have activities. Those are the really detailed steps, as Anna talked about, the tiny habits. Your activities at the bottom are the things that build out your plan. And that's something that we also talked about in another module at Focal Point. It's your GOSPA plan: goals, objectives, strategies, plans, and activities. So moving on. Number 2, plan every day in advance. Not every week, not every month, but every single day. Think on paper. Every minute you spend in planning can save you 5 or 10 minutes in execution. So you want to write down your plan for the day. And you'll be doing some other things with that plan, but you've got to start by writing it down, because once you have that plan in place, you're marching and you're focused. You want to apply the 80-20 rule to everything. 20% of your activity will account for 80% of your results. So you want to always concentrate your efforts on the top 20%. Number 4, consider the consequences. Your most important tasks and priorities are those that can have the most serious consequences, positive or negative, on your life or work. So focus on those above all else. So it's really important to think about, when you make a decision, there can be a positive consequence because you're heading towards your goal or your objective. But if you make a decision, there can also be a negative consequence. So sometimes you have to stop doing certain things to focus back on the positive. So you want to make sure that you consider what the negative, if I don't do this task today, what's going to happen? If I don't call this person and I don't develop this relationship, what's going to happen? So you want to consider the negative consequences as well as the positive, and you need to focus on your most important tasks and priorities. Number 5, practice creative procrastination. Since you can't do everything, you've got to learn to be deliberately put off those tasks that are of low value so that you have enough time to do the few things that really count. So yeah, you can list all the things on your list, and we'll talk about how we prioritize them in a little bit, but you've got to practice creative procrastination. Yeah, maybe all those things on your list have to get done, but they don't have to get done as number one. There's only one thing that's the most important. That's the thing you want to focus on. That's the thing you want to do first. That's the one thing you want to spend your time on, the thing that's going to get you. You want to focus on those 20% of the things that are going to get you 80% of the results. Number 6, you want to use the ABCDE method continually. And I knew people were going to say, if I just put this up, they're going to say, what's the ABCDE method? So I put a little diagram down at the bottom. And this is how you prioritize. Once you make a list of your tasks, you want to take a few minutes to organize them by value and priority, so you can be sure of working on your most important activities. So the A's are those things that are the highest priority tasks. Your B's, those are the medium priority tasks. Your C's, those are things that need to get done. Maybe they're urgent, but they're not the highest priority. Those would be your C's. D's are the things that you delegate to somebody else. You know, your spouse or your partner or a child or a business partner, somebody else, somebody that works for you, your executive assistant, your somebody on your team. You can delegate a task to somebody else. If it's their strength, you want to be sure that those are the things you're delegating, especially if it's not yours. And then lastly, E, you want to eliminate tasks that don't matter. I mean, that you could look at your list and go, oh, well, gee, I didn't do that yesterday and I didn't do it again today. I guess it's not important. Maybe I don't need to do it. You can cross it off your list. That's an E. Number 7, focus on key result areas. You want to identify those results that are absolutely positively that you have to get to do your job well, and work on them all day long. So key results areas is very important. We spend a lot of time on this in Focal Point, understanding what our key results are. In business, it's called your key performance indicators. It can be a lot of different, there's a lot of things, but we call it key results areas, our KRAs. So you want to identify those results that you absolutely positively have to get to do your job well and work on them all day long. Number 8, you want to apply the law of 3. Identify the 3 things you do in your work that account for 90% of your contribution and focus on getting them done before anything else. So identify what those 3 things are that you do in your work. It's probably things that nobody else can do. It's things that you do better than anybody else. If you focus on those 3 things that are 90% of your contribution and focus on getting them done before everything else, then you're going to have more time for your family and your personal life. Number 9, prepare thoroughly before you begin. This is the example I give here is when I used to prepare my own taxes, and you want to collect all your documents, your W-2s, your receipts, your tax forms, your information. You don't want to start and do a little bit and then go, oh, I need to go get something else. No, oh, I need to go get something here. Oh, I have to go look in this box and do that and do this and do that. No, before you start doing everything, you get all the papers, all the information, all the tools, all the work materials, all the numbers you're going to require so that you can get started and you can keep going. It's most important to keep going. You got to keep going until you get it done. Multitasking does not work. Don't multitask. And so that leads into number 10, which is you take it one oil barrel at a time. You can accomplish the biggest and most complicated job, no matter what it is, no matter how long, no matter how complicated, if you just complete it one step at a time. And in order to complete it one step at a time, you got to know what the first step is. So you got to figure out what that first step is. You're not going to start on a task if you don't know what the first step is. You can't overcome resistance to getting started if you don't know what the first step is. So part of your goal and part of your plan has to be identifying those activities, those first steps that are going to get you to move forward. So you want to spend time doing that. Number 11, upgrade your key skills. I talked a little bit about this before, but if you're really good and knowledgeable at something, you want to make sure that you stay at the top of your game in those things, because you want to concentrate all of your efforts and all of your activities on the things that you do really, really well. So the more knowledgeable and skilled you become at your key tasks, the faster you start them and the sooner you can get them done. So especially if you have to do routine things every day at work, you want to really put a process in place You want to eliminate the steps that don't add value. You want to do continuous process improvement so that you can start those tasks, and the sooner you start them and you can get them done. So you determine exactly what you're very good at doing and what you could be very good at, and throw your whole heart into doing those specific things very, very well. Number 12, you want to identify your key constraints. We talked a little bit about this. You want to determine what the bottlenecks or choke points are, whether they're internal or external, and that set the speed at which you can achieve your most important goals and focus on alleviating them. So once you've laid out your plan and your activities, look at the critical path and see what things can I do in sequence, what things can I do in parallel, and then the things that have to be done in sequence, then you have to figure out, well, what's the thing that's preventing me from completing that result today? What are the resources I need? What are the constraints? And then focus on that key constraint. Because if you can eliminate that, you can move faster through the rest of the task. So you really want to identify what that key constraint is and what that bottleneck is. Number 13, you want to put pressure on yourself. I mean, you've got to be your cheerleader, your motivator, your coach. You've got to imagine that you're going to leave town for a month, and then you have to work as if you had to get through your major task completed before you left. So every day think, oh, I'm going away tomorrow to Bora Bora, and I definitely don't want to think about this tomorrow. I've got to get it done today. So put pressure on yourself, and you say, that plane's going to leave tomorrow, and I got to be on that plane to Bora Bora. I got to get that task done today. Put pressure on yourself to get done today. Number 14, you want to motivate yourself into action. So you want to be your own cheerleader. Look for the good in every situation. We always want to focus on the positive. You want to don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on the things that are slowing you down, dragging you down. You want to concentrate on those things that are going to move you forward, that are going to be positive. Brian Tracy likes to look in the mirror every morning when he gets up and go, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. So he's a big believer in positive affirmations and attitude. And it's true, when you're working on a team, attitude is everything. And so a lot of the work that we do at Focal Point is concentrated on communication and changing attitudes and breaking down bad habits and putting processes in place that support achieving goals. So it's very important to be your own cheerleader, look for the good in every situation, focus on the solution rather than on the problem. It doesn't do any good to look at what went wrong in the past. If something went wrong, recognize that it went wrong, but then instead of focusing on what went wrong, focus on what you could do differently next time. So that's what went well, what didn't go well, and then focus on solutions so that next time you can overcome that problem. And you always want to be optimistic and constructive. That's the most important thing. Number 15. 15 and 16 are the two new things that were added in edition 3 by Brian. And because, as we know, technology is all around us today, our smartphones, our computers, our intelligent Internet of Things, everything is technology, but technology is a terrible master. So you want to take back your time from enslaving technological addictions. So you have to be intentional, learn to often turn devices off and leave them off. So, when you're at the dinner table with family, everybody turns their devices off. You don't have the kids playing games at the table. You don't have, you're not answering phone calls. You're not, you're spending time with your most important folks. You're with your family. You turn your devices off and you leave them off. But number 16, the opposite of that is technology is a wonderful servant. So you want to use your technological tools to confront yourself with what is most important and protect yourself from what's least important. So that means setting your notifications to alert you when things that are going to impact your goal happen, so that you can take action on those things, maybe readjust your priorities and your plan throughout the day. But you also want to use the things to turn off those things that are going to interrupt you while you're doing an important task. So use your technology and notifications and set up those notifications on screen time and things like that to make technology your servant and not your master. Number 17, you really have to focus your attention. Stop the interruptions and distractions that interfere with completing your most important tasks. Interruptions and distractions, I know it's hard. It's very hard, especially when you're working from home. Interruptions and distractions happen all the time. But hey, you can be working in your office. You probably don't want to be working at the kitchen table while your kids are doing their homework and somebody else is preparing a meal, because you're not going to be able to focus your attention. So you've got to stop the interruptions, stop the distractions, and you really have to continue to focus on completing your most important tasks. And urgent tasks can be a distraction. So maybe you read all of your emails at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. Don't constantly interrupt what you're doing because somebody else wants your time. Email is somebody else putting a request on your time. You decide when it's important for you to interact with email and get back. If it's something that's important for your achieving your goal or objective that day, yeah, then you need to deal with it right away. But if it's something that can be put off and it's a task that you can delegate, or it's a C task, you can push it down on the priority list and you can do it later. Number 18, slice and dice the task. You want to break large, complex tasks down into bite-sized pieces and then just one small part of the task to get started. So this again goes back to Anna and the tiny habits. You want to really break down those tasks into bite-sized pieces. You want to know what the first steps are, and you want to do just one small part of it. You want to have one small part of the task that you can get started on, so you can get that going. It's amazing how once you define what the first steps are, and once you have your activities in place, how much faster you can get through the entire thing and accomplish your plan and accomplish your strategy and then reach your objectives and then even reach your goal. So number 19, you really want to work in your schedule to create large chunks of time. One of the things we use at Focal Point is called block scheduling, and I do it on Saturday for the next week, for Sunday through Saturday. And you really want to organize your days around large blocks of time so that you can concentrate for extended periods on your most important tasks. So you don't want to have everything that isn't a 10-minute or 15-minute thing. Yeah, maybe some things you can get done in 10 or 15 minutes, and maybe they're important and you need to do them. But by and large, your most important tasks are going to take more time. So you want to make sure that you allow time for preparation, time to actually complete the task, time to do the follow-up that you need. So set aside an hour, set aside 2 hours. Sometimes maybe it's 3 hours. Yes, you need to take breaks. You can't keep going for 3 hours, but set aside large blocks of time so that you can concentrate for extended period on your most important task. And since you're working on your frog, first thing in the morning, you're rested, you're ready, you've got your largest block of time ready for that. You're going to do that first. You're going to keep doing it. You're going to keep working on it until you get it accomplished. And then you've eaten that frog. It's done. It's gone. The rest of the day is all downhill because you've gotten that important, difficult thing out of the way, the most challenging thing. Number 20, you want to develop a sense of urgency. Make a habit of moving fast on your key tasks and become known as a person who does things quickly and well. So there's no time for dilly-dallying. You got to be diligent. You've got to create a sense of urgency. You want to be known as somebody who gets things done. How do busy people get things done? They're focused. They always say, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, because they'll get it done. I'm going to be I'm an engagement ambassador for the 35th reunion, and I do 8 or 9 other things for my local Wharton club. And they still said, hey, we want you to be the leader of the reunion because we know that you are busy, but we know you can get it done. So have the reputation of being somebody who can do things quickly and well and get things done. And lastly, number 21, you want to single-handed handle every task. So multitasking does not work. You want to set clear priorities, start immediately on your most important task, and then work without stopping until the job's 100% complete. So you finish that task before you go on to number 2. So this is the real key to high performance and maximum personal productivity. So you really want to have that single focus in mind and not be multitasking. So that's the 21 key things. And the most important thing is to have a list of all those. You'll get a copy of this presentation. So you want to practice those things. You want to make a decision to practice these principles every day until they become second nature to you. And then once you have these habits of personal management as a permanent part of your personality, your future success is going to be unlimited. So just do it. Eat that frog. So my call to action for you today is this. If you would write a detailed email referral or a mutual introduction to me for someone in your network. Now, the people that I want to be introduced into your network that would be most helpful to me are other executives, business owners, or perhaps HR folks, because often HR folks hire executive coaches. So if you have somebody in your network that's like that, and I only do, all my business comes through referrals, so I never sell anything. I just have conversations, and if I can meet someone's need, then we continue the conversation. So if you will write a detailed email referral, you see my email address there, you'll have it in the presentation, you'll see it at the end. You introduce me to someone in your network who'd be interested in having a conversation about their business. I'll send you a free digital copy of Brian Tracy's book. It's 150 pages, and it goes into great detail on the 21 steps. But the person you introduce me to must set up a conversation and have the conversation for you to receive your copy of the book. And my business offering today is if I get at least 5 people from the folks on the call here, up to a maximum of 16 are interested in a workshop on this topic, which is really time management, eating that frog. I'll offer a one-day virtual or in-person workshop in January 2022. So tell me in your note to me if you're interested in the workshop, whether you prefer virtual or in-person, and you can see the cost there. And of course, the cost is determined by the number of people that sign up. So if you and your friends, or you and your work team, or you and your boot camp cohort want to take it together, it's really fun to do together. It's very interactive. There's lots of questions, lots of exercises. It's really more than, it's not a lecture like this is. And so as I said, Brian's given it to over 1 million people, and they've doubled their performance in as little as 1 year, and they've increased their earnings, because Brian's all about profitability. So if you're interested in a one-day workshop, let me know if you want to do it virtually or in person, and then we'll see about setting that up, because I think you can really benefit from digging further in on this topic. So I want to say thank you very much for listening to me today. Here's my contact information. You'll get this as part of the presentation this afternoon when Christian sends it out with the recording. So I have a website. It's geared towards executive coaching. There's a call to action on the website called the Executive Leadership Score. So if you take that, it's free. There's no obligation. If you take that, you can also get a free ebook. So I would encourage you all to go to my website and take a look. I think you'll find it interesting. You can learn more about me, and you can also learn more about your executive leadership style, and maybe some areas that you can improve, and maybe it'll spark a conversation either with me or another coach or somebody else on your team. So again, no obligation. It's entirely free. There's a way to set up appointments with me on there if that's something you want to pursue. You see my email there. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, please send me a personalized invite, and I'm happy to connect with you. I love giving back. I love making mutual introductions. I've made introductions for folks who are in transition, and they've been introduced to people who eventually led them to their next position. And I love doing that. I love being successful at placing executives. So I'm happy to do that for all of you. And I'd love to do that. So the last, actually we have a little more than 8 minutes. So I finished a little bit early. We've got 14, but if there's any questions that you have, anything you want me to cover or clarify, you can put it in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask, and then we'll do that. So let me get out of here, and then I can get back to stop sharing. And come on. Oh, there we go. Oh, it stopped. All right. So what questions do we have?
We don't have any questions in the chat, Bill, but this is great information. The one thing that is really obvious that I have a tendency not to do is turn devices off. And so it's getting pinged constantly. And I like another thing that you said, and when I do it, it's really effective, is do the blocks of time.
Yes.
And so, maybe if I get in the practice of doing it before the week, then I'll actually get it done.
Well, and that's why I say I do it on Saturday or Sunday before the week. And I actually color code it because so what things I'm doing that are networking related are one color, things that I'm doing that are training related are another color, things where I'm having one-on-one conversations with potential clients are another color. So you can see how you're allocating your time. And so, I have all my yogas on there. So things that you're going to spend time on need to be on your block schedule. Yes, things come up and you have to deal with them, and maybe you need to allow some time for that. So I have what's called action item time. And so when action items come up that need to be worked in between the other tasks, then that's how you do the block schedule. But you want to color code it. You want to add up the colored blocks and see how you. So my schedule runs from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and all of that time is blocked out Sunday through Saturday. Now, obviously, there's open times, but there's also you use it to do the blocks in terms of I need an hour for this, or I need 2 hours for this, or I know this meeting requires me to spend a half-hour preparation before the meeting, so you put the preparation time in there as well. So you want to have all of those things thought out. So you think about it. You're thinking about it, how you're going to organize your week, and that's how you're putting the emphasis on the right plans and the right activities that are going to lead to your achieving your strategies.
Okay.
And your objectives.
Great, thank you. And Wendy asks, so curious to ask Bill, of the many useful tips, which practices do you feel got you to the actions that brought you to this career path? And also, what did you stop doing and start doing?
Yes, that's a great question. Well, I as I mentioned, we call it the GOSPA plan: goals, objectives, strategies, plans, and activities. I think my background is in strategic planning, so I'm always planning ahead, because I think you get to your goal faster if you've planned ahead. If you're just drifting, you think about you're drifting down the river, you're just not going to get to your goal fast enough. And so I think having a detailed written plan with your overarching goal, your objective, which is how you're going to achieve that goal, your strategy, the plans and the activities. And then in terms of things that you're going to stop doing and things that you're going to start doing, I mean, it goes a little back to delegation. So like I stopped doing grocery shopping. I stopped going into the yoga studio. I used to spend 3 hours for every yoga class, and I would take 14 classes a week. So when I stopped the half-hour drive to the studio, the half-hour sitting waiting for the teacher, and the 1 hour yoga class. Of course, I still do the 1 hour yoga class, but then the half hour after taking a shower and the other half driving home. So out for 14 yoga classes a week, I saved 28 hours by not going into the studio. I save $120 a month by not paying for the in-studio membership. I only pay $20 a month. So now I'm, instead of paying $3 for a yoga class, if I do 60 classes in a month, I'm now paying 33 cents. I saved that 28 hours, which I can apply to my business. I saved $5,000 in maintenance on my automobile, my vehicle, from going back and forth to the studio. Yes, I don't get to see the people in person. I only get to see them on the screen. So I had to give up something, but I gave it up because it allows me to do other things, and I can spend my valuable time doing things which are going to build my business. And it's a 7-year commitment in Focal Point for the franchise. So I'll finish on June 15th, 2028. I'll be 69 and a half that day, and I'm ready to retire in 6 months after that anyway. So I stopped being in transition. I've been through transition 6 times. I didn't want to be in transition again. So I started my own practice, and I love it. I love my company. I love the values that they espouse of legacy and integrity and team and passion and balance and profitability. And I just love being able to draw on the resources and not having to start from scratch. So it really was a way to kickstart being an entrepreneur. And I have 72 modules of content, 13 modules of executive content. I can do personal performance coaching. I can do assessments like 360 Prioritized Leader, employee engagement surveys, DISC, which is a communications behavioral style. I can do team DISC. I can do masterminds. There's all kinds of things I can do. And so it's really exciting. And I'm just looking forward to what the new year will bring.
Well, it seems like you're really well suited to do what you do. What I love, what you just talked about, is You talked about the analytics and kind of the metrics of what, kind of organizing your time and, what you've saved. That's pretty impressive. And I think that when we look at that, it definitely takes on a different spin of, what we're actually spending our time on and how much it's costing us. And,
Yes, what they say, what gets measured gets done. So if you want
right.
something done, you have to figure it. Not everything, it can't be a quantitative metric, but you can have qualitative metrics. So we have a tool that we sell to our clients called Focus or Align, which is a strategic planning tool, and it's very much geared around the critical numbers. What is your organization driving to? Is it a revenue number, an operating profit number? Is it the number of customers? Is it the number of sales contacts? What are your critical numbers? Because you want to have your whole team understand what those are, and you want to have sub goals for them. So this particular software is really, really great for large and small companies that want to implement a strategic plan and follow all the activities that are going on and the initiatives, and making sure that people are meeting and the right people are meeting, and that you're appraising employee performance, and you're achieving those goals. Because when people are clear on their goals and what they have to do, they're more productive, they're happier, they're more engaged. They don't want to leave, they don't want to resign, because wow, my boss cares about me, my boss has made clear to me what he wants me to do. So
okay, we have two people with their hand raised. Anna.
Hey, Bill, this is great. Christy, thanks for allowing me to ask my question. Two-part question. So first part is, when you're doing time blocking, how do you block your time in terms of you allow yourself enough time, but then like, things always take longer than you think, or something pops up, and then it kind of screws up your entire schedule. Now, on the part, if I allowed myself too much time, then I'm not very efficient, and it's like, then I get distracted.
Right. Well, you do need to allow some flexibility in there. And what you do is you revise your block schedule when things come up. So you stop and you say, okay, I need to revise my schedule today. This important task has come into play. I know it's going to take time. I'm going to need to reschedule and reprioritize. So you stop, you reprioritize that. You look at the blocks that you have for the rest of the day, and you say, okay, I'm going to move that to tomorrow. I'm going to move that to Thursday. I can move this around. So you stop and you make that adjustment right then, and then you get back to your schedule. You're focused on your new schedule and your new plan, and you've now taken into account that thing that's happened, but you're still focused on the most important thing, and you've allowed enough time for that. And yeah, if you finish something early, great, then you can move something else in and do something. If it takes longer than that, then you stop, reprioritize, redo your schedule, move things out, and then start again.
Makes sense. Thanks so much, Bill.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff has a question. Jeff Rudat.
Hi, Bill. Thank you very much. I was wondering if you could expound a little bit more on the ABCDE method. I think it's a wonderful way of avoiding what I call the tyranny of the urgent versus the important, and how you assign the value and priority when you're doing that, what some of the criteria are for that.
Right. Well, if you're familiar with the Franklin Covey method, they use the ABCD method, and actually they really use E because they cross out things. But I started that in 1989 at Hughes Aircraft Company, and so in order to assign your A's and B's and C's, you have to think about you have to know what your goals are first. You have to think about your goals and your objective and your strategy. So you want to be assigning to A those things that are in line with your goal and your objectives and your strategies. If it's something that still has to get done, but it's not an immediate alignment with your goals and objectives and strategies, it has to move lower down on the priority list. So some things are important, but they're not important today. So maybe those are B's. So you want to make sure that the things that are have to get done today, that are your frog, you want to make sure your frog is an A. You want to make sure you've allowed enough time for your frog. And then the things that are B, maybe they're tomorrow's frogs. You're going to be eating frogs all week long. So maybe those are tomorrow's frogs. Or and then your C's, yeah, those are the things that are urgent, things that have to get done. Yeah, maybe you have to do them, but you don't have to do them first. Yeah, so maybe there's a particular time when you have to do them. So those would be C's. Sometimes a C has to bump up to an A. You've got to get it done. The doctor's office is only open till 5. It's 4 o'clock. You've got to call. You've got to make that appointment. Okay, it becomes an A. So you move that up and reprioritize during the day. So A, B, and C. D is to delegate. You want to be sure you're delegating things to others that they can do better than you can. If you're not a marketer and there's somebody else in your team that's better at marketing, you shouldn't be doing the marketing tasks. You're not a marketer. Get somebody else in your team to do those things that are better suited to them, because they'll do it better, they'll do it faster, and they'll accomplish their goals faster because they're working on the thing that they're good at as well. And E is you just got to eliminate tasks that don't need to get done. They're non-value added. They're distracting from your time. They're like, I don't go to the grocery store anymore. I delegated that to my concierge. Once a week, he gets my groceries, he brings them in, he loads them in the refrigerator, and it costs me 5% of the grocery bill for him to do that. So then I can focus. I'm sure he's not getting paid per hour what I'm getting paid as a coach. So I need to be focusing my time on things that are going to generate that revenue for me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Tony has a question.
Thanks, Christy. Bill, great presentation. Not a question, but I just want to piggyback and say regarding the time blocks, I'm a big believer in the time blocks. I live my life on off calendar. And my point is, I train others. I work with multiple companies. I train other companies to know that I have time blocks so that they know time, company A may be my Tuesdays, company C may be my Thursdays. And when I train people that I have my own blocks, they tend to wind up respecting my time even better.
Absolutely. When you communicate to other people that you have that block, your family members need to know, I'm working till 5 o'clock. You can't come in and disturb what I'm doing. So.
Okay, and we have one quick question. Do you ever feel scheduled? What about downtime or when you just aren't motivated to do the tasks needed?
Well, you want to schedule downtime into your block schedule. That's my yoga, my 2 hours of yoga a day. That's I'm down during. I don't answer phone calls during yoga. I don't. My notifications don't interrupt the teacher speaking on my iPhone as I'm watching my yoga. So you want to schedule in your down on Saturday and Sunday. I leave things called open. I have a big block of time called open. So I'm going to relax. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to have a coffee with a friend, or I'm going to be intentional about building a relationship with somebody else in my network. So I leave open time. If it's something that you can schedule, you schedule it, but you allow flexibility. And so you build open time. I have open time before 7 a.m. and after 10 p.m. During the day, at night as well.
Days.
So everybody gets 24 hours. So you get a chance to decide how you're going to use them.
You're absolutely right. Bill, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We'd love to have you back in 2022 with another topic. And we wish you so well on your focal point coaching journey. And thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Us with some great tips that we can use for the holidays and in 2022
and beyond. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, everybody. I look forward to receiving your referrals or introductions, as well as if you're interested in the full day workshop. It's really valuable, and it's a bargain for what you learn, and you get a nice workbook, and it's very interactive. So I would encourage you all to give it serious consideration. If you get a 20 to 30 time return on your investment, which is what we say when people work with us, they get a 20 to 30 times return on their investment, it's worth it. So
great. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays. Have a safe holiday and a happy new year, and we'll see you in 2022. Bye,
thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.